Ladies and gentlemen, today I stand before you to speak about something very close to my heart, the power of walking alone. In life, we often hear that we need to follow the crowd, that strength comes from those who surround us. But let me tell you this, there is a strength in walking alone that is unparalleled, and there is a direction in solitude that guides us clearer than anything else. When you walk alone, the world may seem louder. People may question you. They may doubt you. They may even try to pull you back into the comfort of the crowd. But let me remind you, the road less traveled is not a road of loneliness. It is the road of purpose. It is the road where you find your voice, your true essence, and your unwavering strength. The truth is, when you are alone, you become the master of your own compass. The noise of others fades, and you are left with only one sound, the beat of your own heart, guiding you, teaching you, showing you exactly where you need to go. You see, strength does not come from being carried along by the crowd, but from walking forward, step by step, with courage and conviction in your heart. In moments of doubt, you will find a quiet voice inside you that will not allow you to stop, that will not allow you to give up. And in those moments, that inner voice will be your clearest direction. Yes, the journey might be difficult. It may be long. There may be moments when you wonder if you're doing the right thing, if you should have stayed with the pack, if you should have followed the path others chose for you. But I promise you, every single step you take on your own is an act of bravery, and it builds a direction that is uniquely yours. And let me remind you of something even more powerful. In walking alone, you become your own greatest teacher. You don't need validation from others when you have learned to validate yourself. You don't need approval when you've learned the art of self-acceptance. You learn what it means to be unshaken by external opinions because you become firmly rooted in the truth of who you are. So, to those of you who are walking alone, know this, you are not lost. You are discovering. You are not weak. You are strong. And those who choose to walk alone, who dare to trust themselves and follow their own path, have the strongest direction because it comes from within. Embrace it. Cherish it. Let it guide you to the heights you were always meant to reach. There's a common belief that strength comes from having a strong support system, that we are only as strong as the people we surround ourselves with. We are told that our success, our progress, and even our survival in this world are dependent on others lifting us up, guiding us, or holding us through difficult times. And while there is truth in the power of relationships and community, there's something incredibly profound about the strength that emerges when we walk alone. When you walk alone, you are forced to face everything within yourself, the doubts, the fears, the insecurities, and find the courage to move forward despite them. It's in these moments that you discover a strength you never knew existed, a resilience that cannot be shaken no matter what happens around you. When you no longer have the crutch of others' approval, support, or influence, you learn to lean on something much deeper, your own will, your own resolve, and your own belief in your path. The strength in solitude is not simply the absence of others, it's the presence of your own voice. It's the ability to trust yourself even when no one else believes in you. It's standing firm in your conviction and knowing that no matter the challenges that lie ahead, you are capable of facing them on your own terms. Solitude teaches you that your power doesn't come from external validation, but from an internal source that is infinitely more reliable and enduring. When you are alone, you are given the gift of silence, a silence that holds the potential for profound self-reflection. In a world full of noise, distractions, and opinions, solitude becomes the space where you can truly listen to your inner thoughts, desires, and fears. It's in this space that you begin to understand yourself on a deeper level. You become aware of your strengths, your weaknesses, and everything in between. Solitude forces you to confront what you might otherwise avoid, and in doing so, it unlocks the strength to face challenges with clarity and purpose. In solitude, you are no longer distracted by the expectations of others. You're not influenced by the opinions of friends, family, or colleagues. Instead, you're free to discover what truly matters to you, what you stand for, what you believe in, and what you're willing to fight for. Without the influence of others' voices, you can hear your own clearly, and this clarity becomes the foundation for your strength. When you make decisions, they are not based on pleasing others or conforming to social norms. They come from a place of authenticity and self-awareness. There's also something incredibly powerful about the vulnerability that comes with walking alone. When you stand alone, you expose yourself to the world in a way that can be both intimidating and liberating. You're no longer shielded by the comfort of being part of a group, and this vulnerability forces you to be strong in ways you never imagined. You realize that your strength doesn't come from hiding behind others, but from standing tall in your own truth, even when it feels uncomfortable. Walking alone doesn't mean that you're isolated from the world. It doesn't mean that you're disconnected or that you don't need anyone. It means that you no longer rely on others to define your worth or guide your path. You become the author of your own story, the creator of your own destiny. The strength that comes from solitude is the ability to stand firm in your identity, regardless of the world's expectations. It is the power of knowing that you can navigate life on your own, regardless of who is with you or who is against you. Solitude also provides a space for growth that is often hard to come by in the company of others. When you are alone, you have the opportunity to engage in deep introspection. You can analyze your thoughts, your actions, and your past decisions without distraction. This self-examination allows you to learn from your mistakes, refine your goals, and shape your future with intention. The growth that comes from solitude is not forced or rushed. It is organic and deeply personal. You become stronger, not because of the challenges you face with others, but because of the challenges you face within yourself. When you walk alone, you find yourself face to face with your own vulnerability. Vulnerability is often seen as a weakness, something to be avoided or hidden, but in solitude, you realize that vulnerability is actually a source of incredible strength. It's in the moments of vulnerability that you come face to face with your true self, your fears, your doubts, your imperfections. And yet it is in these very moments that you find the courage to stand tall and move forward. Walking alone exposes you in ways that make you uncomfortable, but it also gives you the opportunity to embrace that discomfort and transform it into power. Vulnerability in solitude is different from the vulnerability you might feel when you are around others. When you walk alone, there is no one else's gaze to shield you or make you feel less exposed. You are fully exposed to yourself. All the things you've been hiding from or avoiding, whether it's the pain from your past, the uncertainty about your future, or the fears you've never dared to confront, are suddenly there, right in front of you. It's raw and it's real, and it can be overwhelming at first, but this rawness is where the transformation happens. When you allow yourself to sit with your vulnerability, you start to see that it's not something that can break you, but rather something that can empower you. In those moments of vulnerability, you also discover your capacity for resilience. Walking alone forces you to confront situations where you have no one else to rely on but yourself. This is where vulnerability meets strength. As you face the discomfort of being alone, you learn to trust in your ability to handle whatever life throws your way. You begin to realize that while vulnerability might make you feel exposed, it does not make you weak. In fact, it is through vulnerability that you discover just how strong and capable you truly are. Each time you step into a moment of vulnerability, you are reinforcing your inner strength, showing yourself that you can withstand hardship and continue to move forward, no matter how difficult the journey might seem. Another powerful aspect of vulnerability in solitude is that it allows you to embrace your imperfections. We often hide our flaws and mistakes from others, afraid that they will judge us or see us as less than perfect. But when you are alone, there's no one to judge you. It's just you. And you have the freedom to be imperfect, to make mistakes, and to grow from them. This acceptance of your own imperfections is liberating because it frees you from the constant need to live up to an unattainable standard of perfection. In solitude, you realize that your imperfections are not something to be ashamed of. They are a part of who you are, and they make you human. And this humanity is what makes you strong. When you walk alone, you also learn to trust yourself in ways you never have before. Vulnerability often stems from a fear of failure, rejection, or judgment. But when you are on your own, you no longer need to seek validation from others. You begin to trust that even in your most vulnerable moments, you are enough. You are capable of handling whatever challenges come your way, and you are worthy of your own love and acceptance. This trust in yourself is a form of strength because it allows you to move forward in life without constantly second-guessing your decisions or seeking approval from others. You learn that your worth does not depend on anyone else's opinions, and this realization empowers you to walk your own path with confidence. Solitude also provides you with a space to process your emotions and experiences without the influence of others. When you are around people, it's easy to suppress or ignore your feelings, to push them down in favor of keeping up appearances or meeting expectations. But when you walk alone, you are free to feel whatever you need to feel, whether it's grief, anger, fear, or joy. You have the space to let these emotions wash over you, to understand them and to release them. This emotional freedom is incredibly healing, and it allows you to build emotional resilience. When you allow yourself to fully experience your emotions without judgment, you gain a deeper understanding of yourself, and this understanding gives you the strength to face future challenges with a sense of inner peace and confidence. In the face of vulnerability, walking alone also teaches you the value of self-compassion. It's easy to be hard on yourself when you make mistakes or when things don't go as planned. But when you are walking alone, you realize that you are your own best friend. You are the one who can offer yourself the compassion and understanding you need in times of struggle. Instead of criticizing yourself for your vulnerabilities, you learn to show yourself kindness and patience. This self-compassion is an important part of your growth because it allows you to move forward without carrying the burden of self-judgment. You learn to be gentle with yourself, to forgive yourself, and to keep going no matter how many setbacks or mistakes you encounter along the way. Walking alone also teaches you that vulnerability is not something to be feared, but rather something to be embraced. It's through vulnerability that you become more authentic, more connected to your true self. In solitude, you don't have to pretend to be anything you're not. You can let go of the masks and the personas you've created to fit in or gain approval from others. Instead, you can simply be yourself. This authenticity is a source of incredible strength because it allows you to show up in the world as your true self without the need to hide or pretend. When you embrace your vulnerability, you step into your power, knowing that your true self is enough, exactly as you are. There is a quiet strength that comes from walking alone, from standing in your vulnerability and choosing to move forward despite the fear and uncertainty that may arise. The discomfort that comes with vulnerability is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of growth. Every time you choose to walk through that discomfort, you are strengthening your inner resilience, building your courage, and reaffirming your ability to handle whatever comes your way. Vulnerability in solitude becomes not a weakness, but a deep and unshakable strength that allows you to stand tall, face the world, and walk forward with confidence. When you walk alone, you are often forced to confront a deep and transformative sense of responsibility. Responsibility is not just about taking ownership of your actions. It's about taking full accountability for your life, your choices, and your future. In solitude, there is no one else to blame, no one else to rely on, and no one else to carry your burdens. You are fully responsible for the direction you take, and that realization is both daunting and liberating. Walking alone teaches you that while the world may offer many distractions, ultimately you are the one in control of your journey. This sense of responsibility can feel overwhelming at first. It's easy to want to share the weight of your decisions with others, to seek advice and validation. But when you walk alone, you quickly realize that no one else is going to walk your path for you. You cannot outsource your life's choices. The power lies with you, and with that power comes the need to be intentional and deliberate about the steps you take. There is no room for passing the blame or shifting responsibility to others. In solitude, you are forced to own every decision, every action, and every outcome. At first, this may seem like a heavy burden to carry, especially when things go wrong. It's tempting to seek someone to blame or to look for external factors to explain away your failures. But the true power of responsibility comes when you realize that it is also the key to freedom. By taking responsibility for your life, you also take control of it. You stop seeing yourself as a passive participant in life and start seeing yourself as the active creator of your reality. Every choice you make, whether big or small, contributes to the life you are building. This realization can be incredibly empowering because it means that regardless of external circumstances, you always have the ability to choose your response, your attitude, and your actions. When you walk alone, you begin to understand that responsibility is not just about individual choices. It's about the impact those choices have on the world around you. Every decision you make sends ripples outward. The way you choose to treat yourself, the way you treat others, and the way you approach challenges all have consequences. Responsibility means recognizing that your actions affect not just your life, but the lives of those around you as well. Walking alone gives you the space to reflect on how your choices align with your values and the kind of person you want to be. It's a constant process of self-evaluation and growth. When you live with intention, you begin to realize that your decisions can be a force for good, not only for yourself, but also for the people and the world you encounter. Taking responsibility for your life also means taking ownership of your mistakes and learning from them. It's easy to blame others or to make excuses when things don't go as planned, but walking alone forces you to face the truth. You can no longer hide behind excuses or distractions. When things go wrong, you are left with only one option: to take responsibility and move forward. This is where growth happens. It's in the moments of failure, when you are forced to confront your mistakes and learn from them, that you develop the resilience and wisdom needed to succeed in the future. Responsibility is not about being perfect. It's about being accountable, accepting your flaws, and using them as stepping stones for growth. In solitude, you also learn the importance of self-discipline. With no one else around to motivate you or push you forward, it's easy to procrastinate or give in to distractions. But when you walk alone, you realize that you are your own motivator. The only person who can hold you accountable is yourself. Self-discipline becomes a crucial tool for staying on track and making progress toward your goals. It's about creating habits and routines that align with your values and your vision for the future. The more disciplined you become in your thoughts, actions, and choices, the more you start to see the results in your life. You begin to understand that success is not just about talent or luck. It's about the ability to stay committed even when no one is watching. Responsibility also teaches you the importance of self-reliance. Walking alone means that you cannot rely on others to solve your problems or make decisions for you. You must learn to trust yourself and your abilities. This doesn't mean that you won't seek guidance or support from others, but it means that you take ownership of your own journey. You begin to trust your instincts and your capacity to handle life's challenges. In moments of uncertainty or difficulty, you learn that you have everything you need within you to move forward. This sense of self-reliance builds confidence and inner strength because you begin to understand that you are capable of navigating your own path, no matter how difficult it may seem. As you walk alone, you also realize that taking responsibility means learning to be patient with yourself. Life doesn't always unfold according to plan, and there will be times when you feel stuck or uncertain. But when you embrace responsibility, you stop waiting for someone or something else to change your circumstances. Instead, you focus on what you can control. You understand that growth takes time. and that every step forward, no matter how small, is progress. This patience allows you to stay focused on your long-term vision without getting discouraged by temporary setbacks. You learn to trust the process and to take each day as it comes, knowing that with every action you are building the life you want. Solitude is often seen as something to avoid, a state of emptiness or loneliness. But when you truly walk alone, it becomes a powerful tool for self-discovery. Alone doesn't mean isolated. It means a connection with yourself, a chance to dive deep into who you really are and what you truly want. In solitude, you are forced to confront the person you have become, and more importantly, the person you are meant to be. It's in this space of quiet introspection that you begin to uncover your true direction. When you are alone, you are no longer living by the standards and expectations of others. You are not trying to meet someone else's version of success or happiness. Instead, you are given the opportunity to explore your inner world and get in touch with your deepest desires, goals, and dreams. This is where true self-discovery begins. You are no longer distracted by external opinions or societal pressures. The noise of the world fades and you are left with your thoughts, your heart, and your soul. In solitude, you begin to understand yourself on a much deeper level. You start to hear your own voice more clearly, a voice that might have been drowned out by the constant chatter of others. This inner voice is powerful because it comes from a place of honesty and authenticity. It is not shaped by the opinions of others or influenced by the trends of society. It is your true self speaking to you, guiding you toward your real purpose. When you learn to listen to that voice, you start to realize that you've always known the direction you need to go, even if you've ignored it in the past. Solitude allows you to finally hear it. Walking alone gives you the space to reflect on your past, your choices, and your experiences. In doing so, you gain a better understanding of why you are the way you are and what has shaped you along the way. You see the lessons hidden in your mistakes, the growth in your challenges, and the strength you've gained from overcoming adversity. In solitude, you have the opportunity to learn from your past, which in turn gives you the clarity and confidence to move forward in your life with purpose. You begin to see the path ahead, not as something that is unclear or uncertain, but as a road filled with potential and possibility, a road that only you can walk. Solitude also brings about a unique form of empowerment. When you are alone, there is no one else to rely on but yourself. You are forced to depend on your own inner resources to navigate the challenges that come your way. This can be uncomfortable at first, but it is in this discomfort that you find your strength. You begin to trust yourself more because you see that despite the challenges, you have the ability to handle whatever comes your way. You no longer need to seek approval from others or rely on others to validate your worth. You know deep down that you are capable of creating the life you want on your own terms. When you start walking alone, you also start to separate yourself from the limiting beliefs and negative influences of others. In the company of others, it's easy to absorb their doubts, fears, and insecurities. You may start to believe that you are not capable or worthy of your dreams, but in solitude, you can shed these false beliefs. You begin to recognize that many of the things holding you back are not your own thoughts, but the thoughts and fears of those around you. Once you distance yourself from these influences, you can see your true potential. You start to realize that your dreams are not only valid, but also achievable. Walking alone allows you to reconnect with your own inner strength and belief in yourself. One of the most powerful aspects of solitude is that it allows you to get clear on your desires. In the busyness of life, it's easy to lose sight of what you truly want because you're constantly juggling the expectations of others and trying to meet external demands. But when you step into solitude, you are given the chance to focus solely on yourself. You can ask yourself the important questions: what do I want in life? What makes me truly happy? What am I willing to work for? When you take the time to sit with these questions, you gain clarity on what really matters to you. You can start to make decisions that align with your authentic desires instead of the expectations of others. The more time you spend alone, the more you realize that you are not alone in the way you once thought. Walking alone doesn't mean you are disconnected from the world. It means you are reconnecting with yourself. You are learning to trust your own intuition and judgment, and you start to realize that you don't need others to validate your worth or tell you what to do. You have the power to create your own reality. When you understand this, you become unstoppable. You see that your life is in your hands and that you are the one who will steer it in the direction you choose. Solitude teaches you to embrace uncertainty. When you are alone, there is no one else to guide you, no one to tell you what the future holds. This can feel scary at first, but it's in this uncertainty that you learn to trust the process. You begin to understand that the future doesn't need to be perfectly planned out for you to move forward. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to take the next step with faith and confidence. With each step, the path becomes clearer. Solitude teaches you that you don't have to see the entire journey before you begin. You just need to trust that the next step will reveal itself when the time is right. As you continue walking alone, you develop a deep sense of self-reliance. You no longer rely on others for direction or approval. You trust yourself to make the right choices. And even when you face challenges or setbacks, you know that you have the resilience and strength to overcome them. You begin to realize that you are your own greatest ally. And with this understanding comes a powerful sense of empowerment. The more you trust yourself, the stronger you become. Through solitude, you also learn to appreciate the value of your own company. You realize that you don't need others to fill the spaces in your life. You can be content and fulfilled on your own. This doesn't mean that you reject relationships or human connection, but it means that you no longer rely on them to define your happiness. You learn to find joy in your own presence. And when you can be at peace with yourself, you can create the life you truly desire, one that is built on your own terms and authentic desires. When you walk alone, one of the most profound gifts you can discover is the power of your inner voice. In a world full of distractions, opinions, and noise, it's easy to lose touch with that voice, to forget the wisdom it carries. But when you find yourself on a path that only you are walking, you can no longer avoid listening to what that voice has to say. Alone, there's no one else to rely on, no one else to speak for you or tell you what you should think. You have to listen to yourself. And in doing so, you begin to uncover the most important truths about who you are and what you truly want. At first, it can feel uncomfortable. In solitude, you may be confronted with the quietness that leaves you with only your own thoughts. And that can be overwhelming. The voice you hear might challenge you in ways you're not used to. It may point out things you've been avoiding, truths that are hard to face. But this is where the real strength lies, within the courage to sit with that voice, to hear it, and to follow its guidance. It is in the moments when you face the discomfort of your own thoughts that you begin to develop the clarity to move forward. This inner voice is not the same as the chatter of your mind. It is not your fears speaking, nor your doubts, nor the expectations of others. Your inner voice is something deeper. It is the part of you that knows your true desires, the one that knows your strengths and weaknesses without judgment, the part of you that is connected to your most authentic self. It doesn't tell you what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. Sometimes that's uncomfortable, but it is also the key to unlocking your true direction. When you begin to trust your inner voice, you start to feel a sense of empowerment you may not have experienced before. It's a quiet kind of strength that doesn't come from external validation or the approval of others, but from the deep trust you place in yourself. The more you listen to your inner voice, the more you begin to understand your own needs, your own desires, and your own truth. You stop looking for answers outside of yourself, and instead you start seeking them from within. This shift is transformative. It's the moment when you stop seeking approval from the world and instead you start living in alignment with your own values. The beauty of the inner voice is that it doesn't follow the rules of others. It doesn't conform to societal standards or the expectations placed upon you. It doesn't need to fit into the box of what is considered normal or acceptable. When you walk alone, your inner voice is liberated from the constraints that often hold it back in the presence of others. There are no filters, no restrictions. It is raw and authentic, and it will always guide you toward your true path. This is why when you are walking alone, the direction you find is stronger because it is uniquely yours. You are not following the direction that others have set for you. You are listening to the one that arises from within. And that path is the most honest one you can follow. One of the most powerful things about walking alone and trusting your inner voice is that it allows you to step into your own power. Often, we seek guidance from others because we feel unsure or uncertain about the decisions we need to make. We look for validation, confirmation, and reassurance. But when you listen to your own voice, you realize that the power to make decisions lies within you all along. You no longer need to consult others to feel confident in your choices. You begin to trust that you have the wisdom and clarity needed to navigate your journey. In solitude, you can hear this voice without the interference of other people's thoughts and opinions. There is a purity in the silence, a clarity that comes when you allow yourself to truly listen. When you walk alone, you realize that the decisions you make are yours to own, and the responsibility for them lies solely with you. This is both liberating and empowering because it means you are no longer at the mercy of others' judgment. You are free to carve out your own path and to take full ownership of your life. As you walk, you begin to notice that this inner voice not only offers you direction, but it also brings peace. The more you listen to it, the more you realize that the noise of the world doesn't need to affect you. In a world where we're constantly bombarded with advice, opinions, and expectations, it can be easy to feel lost. But when you trust your inner voice, the opinions of others become less significant. You stop looking for outside validation, and instead you start to trust yourself more deeply. You realize that your inner voice is the most trustworthy guide you could ever have. This voice doesn't just help you make decisions, it also helps you find peace in moments of uncertainty. When you don't have all the answers and the way forward seems unclear, this voice provides the quiet reassurance that you are on the right path, even if you can't see the entire road ahead. It's not a voice of panic or fear, but one of steady guidance, of knowing that everything will unfold in time as long as you stay true to yourself